No vote and more stupidity. And we're back.
All right, welcome to Get On Code, the Fly Guy Show, which is a series of melanated conversations focused on empowerment, health, wealth, and knowledge of self.
People think in binary choices because they are conditioned to.
And on the wall was a picture of a wolf and a lion. I think the wolf was the Democratic Party, the lion was the Republicans.
But the drug trade and all these illegal stuff that people do, that's still economics. It's just that they couldn't do it in the traditional system.
We're talking about melanated wealth.
So we can build wealth, but we just, for some reason, don't seem to be able to transfer it.
You had a great experience. Fine. That means nothing.
What were you told as a child about education? You had to be how many times better?
Every impression without an expression becomes depression.
Hey, Minister Zumbi on the set. How you doing, good bro?
Good, man. Like you, I'm drinking my water.
Hey, Code Keepers, drink your water.
Yes, sir.
Ashe. So, yo, I think by now most of us have seen this. You know, most of us have seen the video, and we got to get into it. You know, saucy song. Saucy Santana and sexy Trina. That's what I meant to say. I meant to say. That's it. And in the mix is our favorite woke queen, Candace Owens. We're gonna tap into that as well. I can't wait to share with you that aspect of it. But Queen Candace pops into the mix of this stupidity. So look, we're talking about no vote and no vucking. That's the letter V. All right. No voting, no vucking. Tell me, brother, how'd you hear about this particular voting initiative that highlights Saucy Santana and Queen Trina?
I was listening to a podcast where they were doing a review of the classic movie, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. And during the dialogue, there was mention of this PSA that Trina and Saucy did as a means to encourage people to vote, because I think we're approaching midterm elections. Okay. I broke away from the podcast to watch it. First, I watched it without sound. Then I watched it with sound. I'm not sure which one was worse. And fortunately, I watched it on an empty stomach. Okay. You know, and to feel comfortable enough to pander to something that savage, I'll put it to you this way. What does it mean? What do the people who put this out think of us as a people? And how do they view us in the political arena of power? To feel comfortable enough to put this on, not to mention the melanated folk who chose to take the check in participating in this. Okay.
Yo, I have to agree with Emmanuel. He felt violated, like he has PTSD after watching that offensive BS. I shade that, brother. Right. I shade that energy.
you know,
ooh, I know, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, we also have to talk about, you know, again, I was talking about the thing about power. Now, I came across something earlier this evening from one of my, what I call holy scriptures. And this is Dr. Amos Wilson, Blueprint for Black Power. which is a must-have in every home. In the chapter number 1 called "What is Power?" This is on page 23, and it talks about using manipulation as power. And I'm only going to do one paragraph.
All right. Okay.
The manipulation of African American political and economic attitudes by the white ruling elite is designed to effectively secure, enhance, and exercise power while not appearing to do so, while appearing to provide blacks with power or options equal to that or those of whites. The point of this type of manipulation is to win the acceptance by blacks of the legitimacy of white power, its moral integrity, its legitimating ideology, and the acceptance by blacks of their obligation to obey the directive of white power while believing their obedience to be expressive of their own free and moral will. Only by basing their behavioral orientation on their own African history, culture, values, interests, consciousness, and identity can blacks prevent their behavioral manipulation by self-serving whites and act under the influence of their own self-generated enhanced power. So,
right, that was the ancestor Amos Wilson from a blueprint for Black Power, right?
Yes.
What page was that?
That was page 23. It's in chapter 1 called "What is Power?"
All right. So for those of us who have never really experienced Amos Wilson and the didactic manner and way he writes, some of us say, yo, Zumbi, we heard what you said, but it was too much.
Well, okay.
Because the ancestor, man, he used to put a lot of descriptors in his messaging, in his writings. And you really had to kind of read it and hear it to really capture some of it for me.
Right.
So what was he saying in that?
So basically what he's saying is that we have an apparatus, okay, to where, and he said this in other lectures as well, to where now you take aspects of a people's culture and use it against them to serve the interests of European domination. So in other words, you're telling me to get to the polls to choose between a white fox and a white wolf. Either way, I'm supporting and perpetuating white dominance.
And I'm using something I create and something that I value to move me in that direction.
Right. Under the illusion that you are making this choice, but your choices are being manipulated to serve European interests. And when I saw this, I said, this does nothing to serve the highest and greatest good of African people on a political level.
No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. And that's the disturbing thing, you know. So election time rolls around and we have these initiatives and they're like, I know what'll get the people to vote. Ratchetness. I'll put out some, and no, first of all, I'm a DJ. So the first thing I heard was the beat. And I was like, oh, that's thump. That's thump. Trina. Okay, let me hit. And then I heard what Trina said.
Right. And
I was like, no. So I kind of ignored Saucy Santana. You know, I kind of ignored his whole performance before Trina came on, right? I was just listening to the beat. And be honest with you, I like some of Saucy's music. He got the song called Walk that when I played it at a party, people walk to it, and it's kind of funky. Kind of reminds me of The Time. Everybody walk your body. Everybody walk. Now, I'm not saying it's funky like that, but I'm just saying he has people that kind of walk, and it works at parties, right? But then I heard Trina. And I tell you, man, this is how Queen Candace comes into play. Then I heard Trina, and let's go over Trina's lyrics for this particular song.
BLK app looking for some action. Swipe the homie Scott. What's happening? Space is a 9, abs is a 10. His D is a to be determined. He got mad jokes. He don't seem broke. The only red flag is he said he don't vote. This midterm is for all the single cuties. Wanna hit this booty? Gotta do your civic duty.
Now you know what else is disturbing? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, that was Saucy's section, I think.
Okay, but now
go ahead. We'll come back to Trina's part.
But,
go ahead.
But here's another thing that I want to point out. How do you reduce the worth of a woman's body to a vote? Think about that now. You've reduced the worth of a woman's body to a piece of paper that you slide through a Scantron.
Ooh, I hadn't considered that.
Okay, and I think that was probably more upsetting to me than anything. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that in order to have access to your body, I just got to put a Scantron through a machine?
Ooh, I hadn't considered that. That kind of reminds me of like, you know, I love bounce music, New Orleans bounce music.
Right.
And there's this chant that's, that you hear over, work this thing a little harder and an N-word might buy you a starter, and so there have been, blank this thing for a pork chop, so we've been within some of the demoralized sections of our creation, which is, hip hop is one of them. We've reduced women to bodies and we've kind of connected them with material things like starter jackets, pork chops, but Beyonce in one of her songs, Church Girl, she actually she uses some of that same rhyme scheme in that song Church Girl. And do it, baby, stick it, baby, do it, baby, stick it, baby, do it, baby, stick it, baby, do it. That shake that like a salt shaker. That stuff. I loved it then. Now that I'm a little older and I can understand it, I still appreciate it. But it's really interesting that we're saying, hey, if you render a vote, you have sexual access. If you render a vote, you have sexual access.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Zombie. That's really, I hadn't considered that. I hadn't considered that. I want to drop what Emmanuel says.
Okay.
Always good to have Emmanuel in the house. The fact that they would use sex to think that they can motivate us to vote instead of intellectually engaging us with issues speaks volumes about what they think of us. And moreover than what Emmanuel says, they're simply saying vote, you can have sexual access. But we're not talking about the issues that matter to your community. We're not talking about the things that your community's been asking for since 1890s.
Right.
We're not going to deal with the overreach and with policing. We're not going to deal with the reparations that are owed. We're not going to deal with the failing schools and some of the disparities in the educational system. We're not going to talk about the injustices that happen in the injustice system and how there's a disparity in charging, in policing, in everything that goes along with the judicial system.
Right.
We're not going to talk about how environmentally there are such large disparities that we're not doing anything to fix the infrastructure in the areas that are heavily melanated. In the Black community, if things are problems, we're not fixing them. So they're not talking about any of those political issues,
right?
To get us to engage in the political system, but they saying, hey, no voting, no vucking. Vote and you get sexual access.
And another thing, you being a DJ and you being from Brooklyn, you understand that there's a particular warning that the OGs of hip hop gave us. The warning is, don't be a slave to the rhythm.
Ooh, true that. True that. Don't be a slave to the rhythm.
So you know what it is to have a hypnotizing beat. So while you're locked into the beat, I'm a little metaphysical here, but now you're locked into the beat, I can slip any message over the beat and you'll still dance to it because you're caught up in the rhythm. You're a slave to the rhythm.
Ooh, okay. Nice little Grace Jones reference. Okay. Slave to the rhythm.
So
the rhythm is gonna get you.
so that's why I said now you're starting to use culture as a weapon, taking an aspect of a culture and now using it against the very people who are the architects of it. Okay, so it's not just a PSA, you see. So somebody has been studying us long enough to think that they can put this type of savagery out there. And like you says, we're not sitting here discussing the science of politics, what the voting process is, what are the issues that have a direct impact on African people locally and otherwise. Okay, all it is how do we herd these people? And you know what this is? It's called sloganeering. And we can trace it back to when Jesse Jackson says, up with hope, down with dope. It's the same concept. It's just gotten a little more X-rated over time.
Hey, brother, do you remember the Spike Lee movie that was a musical?
You talking Bamboozle?
Was it called Bamboozle?
The one with Damon Wayans and I think Paul Mooney did a cameo in it. If that's the one you're referring to.
No, that's not what I'm referring to. Okay. I don't think it's what I'm referring to. So, hey, let's go ahead and use. Let's go ahead and use it, right? Spike Lee musical. Spike Lee musical movie.
Okay.
Huh?
Man, go ahead, man.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, there was a wow. That's crazy. Okay. It was a Spike Lee movie.
Okay.
It was a movie. Spike Lee movie. I think it was but it was a musical as well.
Was it before or after he did the Malcolm X movie?
After.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. We'll just go to IMDb.
Okay.
And we'll check out his films. All right. Prince of Cats, Nike. It wasn't 2020. It wasn't She's Gotta Have It. By the way, I did like She's Gotta Have It.
Okay.
One Black Klansman.
Okay. Yeah, the only one that I can think of that's close to being a musical was Bamboozle.
Chirac.
Oh, Chirac. Okay.
Chirac.
Okay. I didn't get to see Chirac.
Okay. So this is the same thing. This was pretty much the same thing. Okay. No peace. So they were saying based, and this actually was interesting because this was based on a Greek play. But in addition to a Greek play, this actually happened to a nation in Africa as well. So in this movie, the sisters said, until all the fighting and violence stops in the streets, you're not going to have sexual access. And they were able to broker a peace because they stopped having sex. All right. Now it's based on this Greek play. Yeah. So it is based on this Greek play. I can't pronounce it.
Okay.
Lysistrata.
Okay.
Let's go find some bean footage on that. All right. It's a comic account of a woman's extraordinary mission to end the war between Greek states by denying all men of the land any sex. Yeah. So that, but actually there was a, I don't want to use the word tribe. I hate when people use that, but there was a nation in the motherland that women actually did this. And I got to do a little research on it. But the interesting thing is, this is Chirac all over again. This is saying no peace, no voting, no peace. And when they said peace, you see it's PEICE. You know, you can get a piece of my love, like Blackstreet said. You can get a piece of my love. All right, let me stop that. But I think it's really kind of interesting that they took this concept and now we got this silliness. And they used our culture, our cultural expression.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah.
And I actually think that this is for a particular set of us. This isn't for you and I. You know, this is for the blacks, the melanated, the indigenous, the Moorish. Right. You know, pick a term, use a term, whatever term you're happy with. This is for those of us who would go to P Valley and the Chucalissa. You know what I'm saying? This is for those of us who were low vibration. This is for those of us. Now, I like the city girls, but this is for those of us who love the city girls. I like Trina. This is for those who love Trina because they may not have been engaged in the intellectual and the philosophical and the political exploits for Black empowerment the way you and I have. So for you and I, this is going to seem real insulting. You know, and I think Emmanuel said that in his comment that he feels violated. And I also think that this was for the alphabet community.
Yeah.
This is for the melanated alphabets.
And
let me go ahead.
You know, and
all right. Well, I'll tell you what. Since you're pausing,
it's that disgusting to leave. And here's the other thing. Okay, the target audience that you're trying to attract, you do them a disservice with PSAs like this. Okay, what happens on the other side of getting them to the polls, getting them to vote? What happens afterwards? Do you teach them this? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you teach these individuals the science of politics?
Yo, this is not for teaching. This was done just to get us to perform a certain behavior.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily benefit us. And let me explain what I'm saying when I state that it doesn't necessarily benefit us.
Right.
Voting in general benefits the constituency. So the citizens who vote really get a chance to, impact some of the politics that impact them. So I do vote. I vote every time that I get a chance. And here in 2 Up, 2 Down VA, here in Virginia, we vote every year. There's always a election, right? But when I say they're getting people to do a behavior voting that doesn't necessarily benefit them, I'm saying that the agenda items that the politicians are pushing are not our interests.
Right. Okay. Let's put this out as an example. All right. you're familiar with the term urban revitalization, or what's commonly known as gentrification.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that gentrification has a direct impact on the target audience that this PSA was designed for. Check?
Yep.
Okay. So now, how do you get that target audience to understand, when I go to the polls, am I voting for, will this urban revitalization be for my benefit and the benefit of my community and my constituents? Okay, that's a direct impact. So if you're just treating us like cattle and just pushing us to the polls without even discussing the issues and how those issues impact you both short, medium, and long term, okay, then we got a problem. And the fact that now you're trying to use artists, okay, musicians who are not politically astute. They haven't done the research like, intellectuals like a Derek Bell or a Glenn, I want to say a Glenn Ford,
right?
Black Agenda Report.
Yeah, or a Tariq Nasheed or Yvette Carnell or
right.
Tone Talks or Mechie X or the Black Authority or Professor
Right.
Black Truth. None of them folk.
Right.
This is not for us, man.
Yeah,
this is not for us.
And the fact that you're using musical icons within the culture as agents of oppression.
I'm not sure if Saucy Santana
but
is an icon.
but what I'm saying is within the larger framework, they've become agents of oppression, to where now you're manipulating them. You give them a check. You tell them, look, you do this, you'll serve the interests of your people. Not realizing that they are being manipulated to serve as agents of oppression. And the only thing they're getting out of it is a tainted reputation and a check.
Agents of oppression. And when we listen to what Trina says, so I think this is kind of funny, particularly with this young lady's face. We're looking at a picture now of Candace Owens, who has the video playing in the background for No Voting, No Vucking. Right. And she's reading the lyrics. And just the woman's face here, that she's just like, oh, I can't believe she's saying that. Let's let Queen Candace, and I'm not saying Queen Candace because I support Candace Owens. I'm giving a shout out to Queen Candace, the traditional, the historical Queen Candace, and I'm hoping that Candace Owens one day rises to the occasion like Queen Candace did.
Okay,
that's I'm trying to speak something into existence.
Okay.
No voting, no vucking. This is the explicit version. Goes on to say, if you wanna come before the deadline, come in this jacuzzi, gerrymander this coochie.
Now, that's that bell hits at the right time. That's something that Trina said. Come before the deadline, gerrymander this C word referring to a vagina. That's enough. See, one thing that as much as I like the City Girls, as much as I like Trina, as much as I like Mulatto, I think it's Lotto now, Juicy Fruit, some of them chicks who rhyme. Issa Rae has a TV show called Rap-ish, and I'm saying ish backwards. And it has, Mia and Shauna. And as much as I like their music and I like their flow and their energy, it comes down to they're funky prostitutes. They're funky prostitutes. And I know I should say sex workers because that's the politically correct term. So, funky sex workers, rhythmatic sex workers, whatever. We're promoting the ability for a woman to use her body to get ahead. But that really only happens with really two types of women. And most of the women who get into prostitution are really in poverty. They don't really have a lot of options. You know, Chris Rock used to joke about, you know, you're a good daddy if your daughter doesn't hit the poll, and she wasn't talking to voting the polls. She said, "We talking like, you know, Magic City and all those sex clubs like that." So Chuckalisa, you know, what is that thing called in P Valley? The club is called something. All right. Anyway, my point is, Trina talks about bottom rung activities. And so this is who this is for. This is for the bottom rung. Let us continue. Queen, hopefully Candace, continue.
I have to laugh because if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying. I mean, it's just, yeah, gerrymander this coochie. How's that, Black America? Yeah, we're doing this because we're being inclusive, not because we think you. I don't know why Black America is still not awake to the fact that we are considered stupid. We are considered the dumbest race in America.
All right. I don't know if that's all true, Queen Candace, but this is working towards the lowest of the low. And so I'm really kind of surprised and disappointed in Trina for her participation in this. I'm really disappointed in Trina for her participation in this. Saucy Santana, he's pushing an agenda.
Yeah.
He's pushing an agenda, and there's just no way around that. He's pushing an agenda, and he's not pushing our agenda, though.
No.
And he's not telling us in this commercial, not commercial, yeah, it's commercial, in this song, in this ad, in this promotional, what to do and how to make sure our agenda is followed by politicians who want our vote.
Right.
Yeah. We're saying no reparations, no vote. We're saying no tangibles, no vote.
Right.
We're saying to the elected officials and the candidates, if you don't work in our interest, you're not going to get our political resource. They're saying no voting, no vucking. So you have to have voting to have sexual access. See, that's off code. That's totally off code behavior, and it's wrapped up in funky music.
And the fact that you feel that the only thing you need to do with our people is nursery rhymes and sloganeering. It lets you know the level of perceived powerlessness that we have as a people. This isn't coming from a position of power. This isn't even coming from a position, I wouldn't even call it influence. Okay. I guess for a lack of a better term, I have to call it political porn. Because that's what it really is.
That's what it really is. That's what it really is. But once again, that's for the target market. That's the target market that wants that pornography. They don't want improvement. They want porn. This is not for us. At first, I was really offended. You know, I felt just like Emmanuel felt. You know, he said he felt violated. And I felt that, Emmanuel said the fact that they would use sex to think they can motivate us. I was disturbed by it at first. Then I realized, brother, this is not for us. But the problem is, this unfortunately will represent us. The same way that Candace just said, Black America, this is what they think of you. That's true. For good or for bad, people will look at me and associate me with a saucy Santana.
And you know what's even sadder? I don't think that there's been an official statement from the Congressional Black Caucus about this.
They supported it.
What?
Yo, it's so disturbing. It's so disturbing.
Wait a minute. The Negro Civil Rights All-Stars, as sanctified as they want to act, green lighted this?
I'm not saying they green lighted it, but you have not. Okay, I did read. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick search right now and see if maybe I'm wrong. Congressional. I may spell that wrong. Black CAUCUS. No voting. Oh. Okay. All right. Yeah, I agree. Black American voters should be outraged. I was at first. Oh, hold on. Wait. Michelle Obama's voting initiative partners with a dating app.
That's right.
Wait.
She's one of the, because they named a list of celebrities that backed this, and Michelle Obama's one of them. Let me see. Yeah. Like I said, there's a list of people that are. Oh, guess who else endorsed this along with Michelle Obama? I know Jennifer Lopez is on that list.
Okay, so there's a list of well-known people who are backing this.
Right. And like I said, I know Michelle Obama and Jennifer Lopez are on that list.
All right, so here's some more of that stupidity from Trina. So this is why I'm saying that, Santana is working an agenda.
Right.
So now I'm wondering, is Trina part of the same agenda? To remain unnamed. Don't stop now. Stuff my ballot box again. Brought my homegirl through. We'll put the buy in partisan.
Man.
Okay, and this is what we're doing. The video also links to a voter registration for When We All Vote. So this is what they think. This is what the producers thought would get young voters to get involved in elections.
I mean, look, we're old enough to remember even Uncle Luke wouldn't stoop to this level.
I'm not sure if they would have included Uncle Luke back in the day.
But no, I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that even though Luke dealt with adult themes, he wouldn't have stooped to this.
And Luke was also a little more politically conscious because he also put out the song "Banned in the USA."
Right.
He would always have the "Don't stop, pop that, let me see you do." All right. But he also had some politically conscious stuff. If you remember, he signed Professor Griff after Professor Griff lost his position with Public Enemy. So Luke has always been a little politically conscious, and he's also been involved in Black uplift and Black empowerment.
Right. Anywhere in the city of Miami, especially with the youth, Luke has always been a very strong presence. Yeah, I hope you find that list so that way you can see the list of celebrities who are behind this.
All right. Stephanie L. Young, executive director of When We All Vote, said in a linked article that the partnership with Black, and BLK is Black, it's a dating app, is aimed at ensuring that voices within the Black community are heard during the midterm elections. No, See, that's what it says.
Right.
But what is it doing? It's simply saying go out and vote. It's not ensuring that diverse voices are heard.
Yeah, it's like you're not even, you know, and okay, we got midterm elections. What are the issues that are on the table for midterm elections? That's not even mentioned.
Together, we will change the culture around voting and ensure our community's voices are heard in the midterm elections and beyond. All right, so if they're playing chess and they're just on the opening moves, then after they win, I'll salute them. You know, they could just be playing chess, and this could be just the first movement of the pawns. But I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I wouldn't even
really
call
don't
this.
think so.
I wouldn't even call this the opening. You know, because you need an opening to get to the mid game and then to the end game. Whereas those who are the architects behind this PSA, they work from the end game backwards. So they understood where they want to be at the end of it, but they had to work themselves backwards to say, how do we get there? And whose vote do we need to reach that particular agenda? See, it's what people don't understand is that there's a two-part thing to this. Okay, it's one thing to vote for an issue or vote for a candidate. Once the candidate gets into office, then what? Does the candidate serve the interests of the people who has supported him? Okay, that's and see, this is the thing that Malcolm was talking about in the Ballad of the Bullet, when he was saying, okay, 80% of the black vote went and supported Kennedy against Nixon in the 1960 presidential election, been in the office for 3.5 years, didn't do one thing for those black folk that helped him get into the White House. And it took some tobacco chewing Texan to actually do something on the civil rights bill. Not this Yankee from Boston, a Texan who actually worked with Adam Clayton Powell. So I think we have a lot of homework to do, and there's a lot of educating the people in the science of politics. Okay, because politics is a science. And having these type of, vulgar nursery rhymes, it does not help the people understand the science of politics. Like I brought up that example again about gentrification. If we're dealing with gentrification in our local elections, how do we understand the impact of gentrification when you got this type of savagery in front of our people? Wait a minute. Stupiddope.com? You gotta be kidding.
All right, I didn't get that. Stupiddope.com.
Yeah, I just happened to read the web address there. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, and especially for the youth who are to come after us. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? To that end, one of the things that I'm involved in is a group that I started called the Community Action Team, and I think I want to take this opportunity, even though this is not going to affect everybody. One of the things that the Community Action Team is doing is we're demonstrating how we can become the masters of our future politically. All right, become the masters of our future politically. And this is how we can do it. So, when a candidate comes to your home, they tell you what their platform is, what they want to do, and then they ask you, can I expect your vote? Can I depend on you for your vote? This is what we've done, and this is specific to Virginia Beach, Virginia. We made one for Virginia Beach, one for Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News, Virginia. This one is for school board candidates. So, for school board candidates, when they say, can I count on your vote? We're saying, can you commit to and state verbally on your social media, website, and publicly to do the following for our vote? And then we give them a list of demands. Check. For the school board, we had 5 demands. Those are the demands for the school board. Vote and publicly support collective bargaining was one. I'm not going to read the whole piece. Number 2, vote and publicly support efforts to increase diversity. Number 3, vote and publicly support increased efforts to reduce academic gaps and disciplinary inequity. Vote and publicly support professional development that teaches social emotional learning, stuff like that. Vote and publicly support work that ensures that, the black contractors get a chance to go after some of the school development as well. This is what we have for the city council, that they're going to work to increase availability of workforce housing. And,
right.
We had a lot of different things that were part of our agenda, and this is what we need to be working on. I kind of wish I could have had the ear of Michelle Obama. Let me hear what Sonny said. So they're putting the black man against the woman by telling her to tell her man not to vote for Trump. Okay, Sunny Day. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, they are kind of pushing. Yeah, because they keep saying if you want this coochie, you have to do your civic duty. So they are pitting the sisters against the brothers. And then they have Santana in the mix. That's all right. So Sunny Day, I see your point. But what I was getting at by showing you the demand cards that my team has put together is these are the types of things that we need to be working on to ensure that we have an actual political voice. Because this type of stuff, is not getting us a political voice.
Right. And I like the list that you had where you talk about bringing on black contractors. One, and I don't know how it is where you're at, but where I'm at here in the Capital District region, one of the more, I like to call it a cottage industry, is that a lot of brothers are getting into the pest control industry and are getting contracts from, specific peoples. What if we were to get black pest control companies contracts with the school district? And the thing that I like about the pest control industry is this: basically little to no barrier of entry, but there's unlimited growth potential in that industry. In fact, I had a brother who told me that within the pest control industry, as a niche, just treating bed bugs alone is a $1.2 billion niche within the pest control industry.
And you can get rich in a niche.
Okay.
That's the education I learned in business. You can get rich in a niche or a niche.
Yes.
Rich in a niche. All right. Okay. Let me see what Emmanuel says. We need massive political education in our community. We don't need no voting, no vucking. We need political education, and we need strategies and tools. And that's why my community action team, we're developing tools that are forcing things to change. Let me show you something else. So I showed you our demand cards, right? That's the school board demand card. That's the city council demand card. One of the other things that we do is we developed watchdogs, and our watchdogs go to every city council meeting. They go to every school board meeting, and they also go to some of the other, political rallies and things.
Right.
And they report back to us. And based upon a seated elected official, not candidates, but a seated elected official's behavior,
right,
we give them a report card.
Check.
And so our report card is based on these areas: political knowledge, quality of work, communication, political ethics, community over city balance. And let me go a little description in that one, description. That's saying that they should put the needs of the community over the improvement of the city. Okay. Political teamwork, leadership, legislation. And so we grade them. And this was the very first one that we did, which went from August 2021 to February 2022. And this was some of the school board members in Virginia Beach. And as you can see, man, we had, out of 40 total points, most of them were ranking 8, 16, 11, 15. They wanted 25 would have been the halfway point. Most of these elected officials weren't getting, nobody got over 16.
Wow.
Nobody got over 16. So that meant that everybody was trash. Everybody was subpar. These are the types of things that we need Michelle Obama's initiative to do, to give us the tools so we can do for self. We don't need no voting, no fucking. And I'm really kind of insulted that I saw that Michelle Obama's name was attached to this. Now, I realize that she doesn't make all the decisions for her organization. She may not even sign off on everything that her organization does. That's just the way things are set up.
Right.
But it bothers me. But I shouldn't be surprised.
No.
I shouldn't be surprised.
I guess I'm somewhere between being disgusted, being speechless. How did we get to this point? Is what I'm asking myself. How did we get here? And then more importantly, how do we elevate ourselves beyond that? Now, the report card that you just demonstrated to us. Now, what if you were able to package that and have that travel to other municipalities, to counties, states, and to an extent on a federal level? Because now what you've done is you've created a monitoring system. So when that candidate comes before the people, you pull out the checklist and says, hold on, homie. Okay. This is what you did during your rodeo. Now, what you got to say for that?
Better yet, if you're not acting on our political interests, we're not going to give you any of our political resource.
And
so we're not voting for you. We're not going to pay attention to you. We're not funding you. Moreover, we're going to bash you so that you don't get a chance to get the political empowerment that you're seeking.
Okay.
And we will put anybody in place that's going to work on our agenda. And these are some of the tools, the demand cards, the school board demand card, the city council demand card, the report card. These are some of the tools that we've created. And interestingly enough, we patterned that tool, the report card, we patterned that off of the NAACP's report card, but the NAACP's report card only worked on the Senate and federal level. I mean, the Senate, the senatorial, the senators and the congressmen. This is what we had for the city of Norfolk. This one was October 2021 to April 2022. Yeah. So it's the same criteria.
Okay.
And we even, they got points. And, this one, so let me see if I can show the whole picture here. Right. Let me see if I can show the whole picture here. No, it doesn't show the whole picture. At any rate, none of them got, actually most of them got just like 26 or 27 in this particular grouping for the city of Norfolk. But my point is, anybody can gather a team together, put together watchdogs, and start recording the actions and the successes and the interests of these elected officials. And we shouldn't just work on the candidates. You know, this silliness about no voting, no vucking, the power is not necessarily in the candidates and voting. And people give me a lot of pushback on this, but I've been saying this since 2018.
Right.
Since I ran for the school board, and I didn't win, but I learned a lot about the political system. And I said, it's not the agent, it's the agenda.
Okay.
Moreover, it's not the candidates, it's the seated elected officials who are already in place. Those are the people we need to put our deepest attention to.
Okay.
But hey, this was another great episode of Precise Thinking with Minister Zumbi. The only thing that was not great about this particular episode is I talked too much. So I talked too much in this one, man. This was not a precise thinking, because normally in a precise thinking, I try to shut up, but I didn't shut up this time.
Okay, but for anybody to remember, you can get this on Amazon. This is the Gospel of Afro-Nomics Theology. I'm actually working on the expanded edition where I'm adding 5 new chapters and I'm expanding the glossary. And one of the things that I'm going to discuss in the expanded edition, well, 2 things. 1, cryptocurrency, and 2 is a business model, which I think is very ideal for African people in a post-pandemic economy. And that's information marketing. Okay. And it only takes really 3 things: a laptop, information that you can package and monetize, and internet access. Okay, so no barrier of entry, but unlimited growth potential. So I'll be addressing that in the expanded edition of the Gospel of Afro-Nomics Theology.
Ashe. Hey, Emmanuel said it was another great show. Emmanuel, this show was great because you participated, brother. Because the things that you said, we want to thank you. Hey, Tally and Twine used to support some of our earlier podcasts, so want to say salute again to Tally and Twine. And as I say at every ending of Precise Thinking, peace, blessings, and drink your water.
Cheers.
Each